Hi, I'm josephrlewis, and I write adventures. And I have written a new adventure. Here it is. It's House of the Wasp by me. It's a level 5 shadowdark adventure. It's my first adventure that is purely for shadowdark, end to end. I'm pretty excited about it, and I thought it was a good opportunity for me to sort of summarize or overview my writing process that we've been talking about a lot over the last year in different videos. What is this adventure? What is House of the Wasp, you ask? I'm very glad you ask. The short pitch is House of the Wasp is a delve, a classic dungeon delve, into a samurai castle that is not a ruin. It is very much an active samurai castle. And it is full of polite but deadly individuals who are absolutely willing to help you out, absolutely willing to answer your questions, point you in the right direction, and if you offend them, they may use that as an excuse to kill you. They are also currently engaged, the House of the Wasp clan, is currently engaged in a bit of a clan war with the clan of the Rat and the Toad. The Rat clan ninja are trying to steal secrets from the Wasp clan, and the Toad clan monks hate the fact that the Wasp clan is engaged in all this warfare and making weapons, and they're just trying to burn the place down. So you may run into those other agents, you can ally with them, you can ally against them. That's a bit of the faction play that's at work here. But in addition, as you're moving through the space, you can meet artisans and experts of the Wasp clan and be trained in new and interesting and deadly potential skills. Obviously, if that training goes awry, something bad will happen to you, but it might be worth the risk. And the big pitch is that the matriarch, Lady Vespidi of the House of the Wasp, leader of the Wasp clan, has just completed her newest masterwork weapon, the Parasite Spear, which is a very cool thing that you may want. And anyone is welcome to enter the House of the Wasp, and if they can work their way through the house and find the lady of the house, she is more than willing to give you her masterwork spear if you prove that you are worthy of having it. So, lots of hooks, lots of things to do, and I think it's a pretty cool little adventure, House of the Wasp. But how did I write it? Well, let's get into that. So I started the process of writing House of the Wasp, the same I do with every project, which is I wanted to create a very clear idea in my mind, a clear vision of what this project was going to be about, what the product would look like, what it was for, what it would feel like. And that was very easy for House of the Wasp. I straight up just wanted to create a samurai castle. That was the whole idea. That was the whole pitch to myself. That would include faction play and maybe also some opportunities for the PCs to be trained in some cool techniques and styles or skills that might be different and novel and interesting. After I came up with my vision of the samurai castle, I kind of checked in with myself. Is this a cool idea? Is it just cool to me? Is it going to be cool to other people? We talked about this in the rule of cool. And I thought pretty much off the bat, Samurai Castle with samurai and ninja stuff is probably cool to a lot of people. So I think this is going to work for a general audience. I then checked in with myself to see if I had any very clear cultural touchstones, some kind of movies or books or games that I could be thinking about so I would have a coherent style in mind as I'm going through my writing process. And fortunately, I had tons of those. About half of them are anime, half of them are live-action shows and movies. The animes included, of course, Ninja Scroll, which I saw at a far too young age, and then more modern things like Samurai Champloo, Blue-Eyed Samurai, and then live-action things like the new Shogun series, which I liked very much, and then the classic Akira Kurosawa films like Hidden Fortress, Seven Samurai, Rashomon. I think Rashomon's actually my favorite. But I very much had a big stable of media that filled my head with images and just things that I could be sort of channeling into my writing. So I had a very clear idea of what I was reaching for and what I was trying to create. After I had this idea of this Samurai Castle adventure, I then did a quick pause with myself and just thought about what exactly am I putting in? And am I going to be doing anything that is basically cultural appropriation? Am I the right person to be writing this stuff? And I did briefly consider the idea of maybe I don't call them samurai ninja and I just call them knights and thieves. And maybe it's a styling thing. But the adventure is not about, it's not about representing or recreating a culture or exploring religion or politics or any of those inner concepts. It's a patina, it's a style, it's a visual aesthetic, and mostly, of course, the game is just about moving through a dangerous space and solving puzzles and overcoming obstacles. So I didn't think I was at risk of doing something wrong on that front. So I moved ahead with my project. All right, once I had a clear idea of what the project was, of what this adventure was going to be, start at the top of the process, make lists. So the first thing I did was I made lists of locations, and since this was pretty much going to be entirely the interior of the samurai castle, I made lists of the rooms in a samurai castle, starting from the moat and the drawbridge to get in, the watchtowers, the courtyard, stables, smithies. Then there's a dining room and a brewery. There are artisan shops and studios where the artisans are engaged in whatever it is they do in the interior, and you work farther and farther back. And there's the armory and the barracks and the private chambers, and eventually get to the end where the matriarch of the House of the Wasp, is waiting to meet you. And in order to generate that list of locations, again, I just did generic online research. I read some articles. I looked at some diagrams of actual samurai castles and other generic castles, and then other just sort of mansions and houses, just to get a sense of what rooms might be in this type of space. And then I just make a super long list, and then I edited down that list to just include the things that were very distinct from each other and that I thought were interesting spaces to have the adventure in. The second list that I made were lists of people. What kind of people would be in this space? I knew, if you know me, my adventures tend to have a lot of NPCs. They tend to be a little bit talky. There tends to be faction play, maybe fashion play. But I like the opportunity to interact with people, to have more complex interactions. I like having social playtime at the table. But obviously, you don't have to engage with the NPCs on a complex social level if you don't want to. You can treat them as physical obstacles to get around, and that's fine as well. But I wanted to come up with a variety of retainers and servants, and then the samurai and the masters and the leaders, and then a whole bunch of artisans who would be engaged in different types of skillful activities, which would be interesting to observe, and then some of them could train the PCs in those skills if the PCs were interested in that. So I came up with a list of interesting people, and then was able to move on to the next list. The third list that I made was the list of monsters. What creatures do I want in this space? And since this was straight up just for shadowdark, I went straight to the shadowdark bestiary and just started looking through for things that I thought might fit in a samurai castle called the House of the Wasp. And I came through with probably a dozen entries that were vaguely in the right ballpark, and then I pared that down. My goal with anything is to keep it light and easy for the GM, and I ended up editing down my list of monsters just to 7 entries, 7 possibilities, which was a samurai, a ninja, a monk, a swarm of wasps, a giant wasp, a giant weasel, because apparently weasels eat wasps, and a wasp oni. So I reskinned the oni from the book. So just 7 monsters that I thought were thematic and appropriate and interesting for the setting. And the last list that I made was a list of objects, of physical items, which included weapons and tools and clothing, household goods, artworks, things that felt appropriate to the setting, that could be sprinkled around the space, that could become treasure, or just things that you interact with in the space that sort of made the space come alive. So I had a list of things that would be in the space. Once I had all my lists done, I moved on to the next stage, which was creating an outline. And this meant arranging all of my physical spaces, all my locations, in a somewhat logical order for, arriving at the entrance of my samurai castle, and then proceeding deeper and deeper inside until you get to the last space where the rich and powerful people are that you want to confront or interact with. And then once I had that arranged in sequence, then I went through all those locations, looking for logical and interesting places to put all my NPCs, who have all their different skills and backgrounds. I then went to look for, are there places where it was logical to have a monster in waiting, as opposed to random wandering monsters that you would also find in the random wandering monster encounter table. So I plugged in those creatures in those locations where I thought it made sense for them to already be. And then lastly, I went through my list of items and put interesting objects in whatever rooms that felt interesting and appropriate to them, as I continued to procrastinate and avoid actual writing. I did delay the actual writing a little bit as I drew the map. Since I had this list of places, locations in the adventure, I did sketch out a map and then try to label where the rooms were in relation to each other, and then try to figure out the flow of is it easier or hard to get from A to B versus B to C? Where should the passageways be? Where should the doors be? What should be easy? What should be difficult? What made logical sense versus what made for good gameplay? Because this is a game, so it should feel realistic, but it should also feel interesting and challenging. So I was balancing those competing goals to try to come up with a sensible map. And then I had to do the actual writing. So with my sketched out map and my very full outline, I then began transforming my notes into fully realized or fully drafted descriptions of the locations, descriptions of the NPCs, along with their interests, motivations, what they want and fear, what they have to offer, especially if there was training involved, and then what are the causes and effects and how do the traps work, and putting all of those notes to the GM into each of my location descriptions. After I had a first draft, I then went through and started looking for places to add connections. We had a video on connections, and I was looking for physical connections, and I found several. There were a couple places where there were things in rooms that made sense that might connect to the outside. So, for instance, spoilers for House of the Wasp, there's a well inside the castle, and I thought, well, maybe it would make sense if at the bottom of the well there's water. What if that water connects out to the moat at the exterior? So there is a secret entrance through the moat. You can swim under through a flooded tunnel to the bottom of this well, and you can enter one part of the castle. There are also two places on the interior of the castle that have things that generate smoke. They have chimneys. So I figured, well, that smoke has to go somewhere. There needs to be a vent. Both of those chimneys could be connected to the same vent that goes out to an exterior wall. And then when you first approach, you might be able to see smoke coming out of this vent. The vent, of course, is just large enough for a person to crawl through. So if you want to do this Mission Impossible style, you could go in through that vent, and you could actually end up in one of two different locations at your choice as another way to sneak in or sneak out of the House of the Wasp. And in addition to those, I thought there was at least one place where it made sense for there to be, a secret door between two rooms that otherwise were not connected. So I put that in as well. And at that point, I thought I had a pretty robust layout for how you could move around in this space. In addition to those physical connections, I went looking for NPC connections. Is there any places where these people could be related to each other, or know each other, or talk about each other, or preview each other? And there was a handful of places where I thought that made sense as well, so I peppered that into the dialogue prompts and the backgrounds. And lastly, I went looking for places where I had challenges in one place or obstacles. Could I put potential solutions or the tools for solutions in other locations? So if you go to room A and you find objects, tools, items, could they be the fodder for constructing a solution or a way past the obstacle in room B? I don't want to provide the players with explicit answers. I don't always want to put, the golden key to the golden lock is over here and you just find the things. But there should be interesting objects, tools lying around that they could construct solutions out of, because players are very creative and that's what they're looking to do. So if they happen to go to these rooms, they'll happen to get these cool objects or sensible objects that they can then construct solutions to the problems over here. I think that's important. I think it makes for interesting gameplay. So without trying to think of actual keys to actual locks, I went looking for ways to pepper in more objects and items that the players could engage with and do whatever they want with. At this point in the process, I had a very robust draft document, and I started playtesting. I playtested the House of the Wasp 4 times. Each time has a one-shot, so it was condensed. I was able to replicate what was going on pretty quickly over a span of just a couple weeks. I got a lot of great feedback. I've listed out and thanked all of my playtesters in the book. Thank you again. You did a great job. I had a lot of fun working with you guys. And I also found a handful of weak spots that I could make stronger, and also had a handful of inspirations for extra things to add in, to pepper in, to make the adventure a little bit richer and more engaging. So playtesting was very valuable. So when playtesting was complete, I then cleaned up the draft, finished the art, did all the little things that you have to do to publish something, and I hit publish. And now, just a short time later, we both have the electronic version and, of course, this print version that I keep picking up. And whole job's complete. You're probably wondering, how long did it take to do all of those things you just listed? Well, I looked up all the dates for all the things I just did. I started the Google Doc, where this whole thing came from, on October 20th, which is when I started writing my very first handful of notes about what is the concept for this and a handful of locations and names very thin. By November 26th, just over a month later, I had a complete draft. So everything had been listed, everything had been outlined, and everything had been drafted. So I had text for all of my locations, and all of my stuff, and my random encounters, and the basic concept behind my factions, all drafted out after about 1 month, maybe 5 weeks. Once I had the complete draft, I then started the playtesting and doing the artwork. That went from December 6th to about December 19th. So another 3 weeks, so basically another month. So at that point, I had a robust, complete draft, and I could start finishing up the publishing tasks and administrivia. And I hit publish on this on January 4th. So the total time span from first started vague writing outline stuff to a published object, published adventure, was about 10 weeks. And this is 24 pages long. It includes 29 locations. It also includes a custom class, the Sword Master, that I put at the end, because I think building classes in Shadowdark is fun and cool. But again, the whole process, soup to nuts, took about 10 weeks for me to get finished. So that is my overview and walkthrough of the process of writing, playtesting, and publishing House of the Wasp, which again is available on DriveThruRPG and on Amazon.com and on itch.io on all of my pages. So please check that out if you're a Shadowdark person, or even if you're not. It's still fun. It's a fun little adventure. I'm pretty happy with it. We had a lot of fun playing it. So that's the whole process from beginning to end, about 10 weeks to write and draft, playtest, and publish House of the Wasp. Obviously, your mileage will vary. Your schedule is going to be very different. I've been doing this a long time, so I have the muscle memory. It's a little bit easier for me. But I just want to give you a sense of what it might take or can take to write a complete adventure of about this length. Again, this is House of the Wasp is about 24 pages. 2 pages of that is a class. It's about 29 locations, and it took about 10 weeks. So I hope that overview is helpful to you. And until next time, good luck out there.